So before we create the component, what is the component? If you take any application, the application will have so many functionalities. These functionalities will be divided into small portions. Small portions we can treat as a components. So each component is responsible for some functionality. And in simple words, each component is represents the sum of the portion of the view, that whatever you see on the user interface. Let's create the component. Before create the component, so you need to import react and component class. So import react comma, and here I'm going to import component from react. Now let us create the component. So what is the syntax to create the component? So we are going to use the ES6 syntax. So class, and we need to name the component. So I'm going to use app component, and it has to extend the react component because we are going to create the component of react type, right? So extends react dot component. You can simply mention react component also. And here the react component will provide one method called render method. What does render method will do? The render method will take input and returns the output that is going to be rendered on the UI, right? Let us use render method. As I said, it will take the input. Render method will take the input. That I will going to explain you soon, but as of now assume that it is not taking any input, and this is going to be written some content. So here I am going to return h1, or let's say div. This is app component. Now we have created the our first component. So app component. So it's simple. So class app is the component name, and it is going to extend the react component, and the react component will come up with one method called render, and this render method will take the input. It will return the content that is going to be rendered on the UI, and we are going to return here, right? So now if you see this div h1 everything, right? So we are not returning as a string or nothing. It looks very similar to HTML, but this is not HTML. So this is nothing but a JavaScript code, and it is called JSX, and we are going to learn in our upcoming sessions what is JSX exactly. And now we created the app component, but we need to use this app component in the index.js. So how to use that? You see here app component was imported, right? So here app component was imported, but you can see that error called app doesn't contain a default export. Why it is saying like that? Because we are going to import this app component inside the index.js, but we are not exporting this one. To import this app component in any file, this has to be exported, right? So export default app. So now we are exporting the app component. Now if you see, it is compiled, and you can see there are no errors, right? And now let us go and see our output. You can see now this is app component. So earlier we had some image everything, but we commented out the code. So now we can see this is app component. And now if you go and press the F12, you can see that, right? Console, sorry, elements, go to and inspect this one. You can see div, right? Div, and here you don't see app or something. Just simply whatever the content we returned, that HTML content you can see here. Div, this is app component, and here you can see h1 rendered. H1 is the element and div element. So I said this is JSX, not the HTML, but how to prove that? So let me add some CSS class. So here we have index.css. Let me add some, let's say app. So I'm going to give this a color red, okay? Simply I am going to name it as red only. So red class, I added a class called red. So what I am going to do, I am going to import this index.css inside the app.js. So how to import? So import, so this is index.css. I'm going to apply the CSS class to this div. Generally what we do in HTML, we use this class equal to, and then what is the class name? Red. Let's go and see. So you can see that app component, and but we see the warning. So you can see that red color, but still we see warning. Warning, invalid DOM property class. Did you mean class name? Yes. So though it is showing you the red color because it is parsed and class was the HTML attribute, it is showing the color, but you can see the warning saying that invalid DOM property class. Did you mean class name? So the React cannot identify the name class, so that is used for the creating JavaScript class only. Here it is not able to recognize what is the class. That's why it is asking, did you mean class name? So it should be class name. So now if we go and see, you don't see any errors or any warnings, right? But how it is converted, whether it is class name or class inside the DOM. If you go and see now div root, you can see class. So this is the JSX syntax, but after parsing it will become again HTML. You can see the class only. So the JSX syntax, whatever, that will be converted to HTML, and you will see finally class are all HTML attributes only inside the DOM. You don't see the class name. If it is class name, HTML cannot recognize and it won't show you the red color. For example, let me make, instead of class, make class name. So you can see the still red black color only. So you don't see the red color because HTML cannot recognize this, because it doesn't have any attribute like class name, right? It is having only class. So just refresh it, you can see the red color. So this is JSX syntax. So JavaScript from XML plus XML. So that we are going to see what is JSX in upcoming session. But as of now, you can see that creating the component is very easy, like class and component name. Extends, you have to extends because component should take all the properties or methods from the component class of React. So we need to extend it. So react.component, and it is using the render method. This render method is responsible for taking the input and returning the output that is going to be rendered on the UI. That's why you are returning here. This is about how to create the component and how to export it and render on the UI. But we will see more on components, and this is very simple component actually. So we'll see more on the component in upcoming sessions. Thank you for watching.